But for those of you here, welcome. Welcome to the Out of Office Marketing class. The goal for us is to set up a system for you to spend more time offline, to be out of office. And the way that we can do that is by, training a team to continue to work for you because we want to have something. If you're like me, the reason I created this class is to share how we're kind of leaning into a more antisocial era in our marketing. And just in general, the way that I'm sort of feeling and the way that we're slowing down and how we're using our back of house email and Pinterest system to spend less time or, even like last year, the beginning of the year, we almost completely ghosted Instagram. I just literally didn't post anything and we're still able to book clients anyway. And that's not, necessarily what I'm suggesting, but it is possible and it shouldn't be this thing that we're terrified of because I'm willing to bet that you did not sign up to be an influencer. And if you did, hey, you could use this too. But for most of us, most service providers, most coaches, course creators, the people that I generally work with, um, you know, most of us didn't sign up to create content, but now our entire sales strategy relies on how much we show up online. And that's a bit of a problem. So, in this hour, I'm going to show you how we can build something a little bit cozier, a marketing system that actually feels good and feels nourishing, and not like it's like sucking our soul of every good idea, and something that we can actually set up once and then trust to keep running without us needing to like constantly add new stuff, add new leads, add new content, add, all of this. So you'll be able to actually reclaim your time. And I want to share something that I had on my vision board when I really shifted into this more antisocial model. Because here's the thing, okay? If you're here, I think you should put like a little moon emoji actually if you relate to this because I would be willing to bet that the whole reason you started your business wasn't, to answer emails or keep up with admin stuff or to work on content calendars and research algorithm changes and see what's new with the way Meta is serving up your ads and blah blah blah. You are probably an entrepreneur because you love what you do, whether that's, designing or writing or, organizing or something else entirely. Whatever it is, there's parts of our business that we all love and like is what, was the siren call for us to become entrepreneurs. And of course, there's going to be work that comes along with owning your own business. We all knew that. But rather than being able to spend the time on the things that we actually enjoy, like, for a lot of us, like serving our clients, yes, of course, that's work, but like those are the things that we enjoy or coming up with new ideas. Most people that I know who are entrepreneurs are idea people, and we just don't have time for those new ideas. Um, but maybe you just want to like, start to enjoy the slower pace of or a slower paced business in general. Um, and if you're like me, working for myself, I sort of made this promise to myself to have like a lot more time freedom. And these are the things that I promised myself that I just lately have not had. Instead, it's more like being stuck in the weeds. Running a business online right now, like, is really leaving us with this constant pressure to show up on social, to market themselves, to, switch to carousels or like all of these things. And most of us already have enough on our mind. We don't need this intense pressure to market more, especially when it's giving us less and less back, right? We're really like starting to see diminishing returns over and over again. And the truth that I think many of us are afraid to admit is that organic marketing, the way that we have known it, is dying. And even if you're getting like decent reach right now, there's new research that suggests that there's a 90% chance of that reach going down this year. Less reach, less website traffic, which means, fewer leads for us, lower conversions, and ultimately us not being able to rely on our sales. We're going to be having inconsistent sales if we don't know where our traffic's coming from. Anyway, the truth of the matter is that the landscape of organic marketing is changing like drastically and it's changing very, very quickly. Like even in the last 4 years, so much has changed. And because these social platforms have like at this point basically gaslit us into believing or like chalking every little thing up to like another algorithm update, and we didn't watch that video from Mosari, and now we we don't know what the algorithm's doing and we have to make changes because of this gaslighting. Most of us probably won't have prepared our businesses for this major change. um, And I think a lot of us, intuitively feel it. Like you'll see the rise of Substack and of Patreon and of these things because most of us are just not getting the same results as we used to. And so if you want to prepare, if you pay attention in this hour, I'm going to show you what's actually happening behind the scenes. I'm going to share with you how you can adapt to how you can adapt your strategy to those changes and the system that I would, or I am betting on for the rest of the decade, and how you can build something that feels cozier and, like I said, set up once and have it continue working. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn and kind of hate feeling like I have to post constantly. Hey, I do branding and make fonts too. I love that. I absolutely love the branding niche and graphic design niche for Pinterest. It is one of my faves, and designers, like interior designers as well. Hi, I'm Rochelle, coaching who focuses on pulling people out of burnout or pre-burnout. Oh God, pre-burnout. I didn't know that existed. And moving them to peak performance. Okay, that sounds amazing. Renee says, I don't mind constant content creation because I was always a theater girly and love the creative process of visualizing and filming and editing, but I want to be able to generate better and more consistent leads so that I'm not having to rely on socials and build a better ROI. Renee, you are literally speaking my language. I have a slide coming up that says almost those exact words, which is that I don't hate marketing. Like I actually like this stuff. I think a lot of it is fun. I like when a new marketing, platform comes out and I like trying it. What I don't like is feeling like it kind of takes all the fun out of it when you feel like you have to get it right. So having this set up like actually lets me have so much more fun in my marketing and takes the pressure off of me, which anyway, we'll get into that later. So I totally relate to that. Hey, Brittany, course creating psychic medium who teaches Reiki, breathwork, and all things energetic intuition. I love that. You definitely are in the right place. Wait, that black and white photo is you. Oh, I thought it was actually you. I was like, girl, you are on my vision board. You mean this one? You're Joan Didion? Okay, that is good to know. The ghost of Joan Didion is in the room. Where was I? Okay, before I share with you what we should do about it, let's take a quick look at what's actually happening. This is like the picture. This is where we are. And when you understand this, you'll know like how you can adapt. Facts facts are reach is down, way down. You've probably noticed it. You're getting fewer views, fewer likes, fewer people are clicking on your links. And even when you're doing, the right things, you're following that influencer's viral carousel template and the right hook and whatever. Um, you probably feel this, right? But the thing that I think not a lot of people are talking about and that really riles me up is that I'm starting to feel like these platforms are actually using our content to make our problem worse, to make our visibility worse, and to really sabotage our reach because AI search summaries are literally scraping our work and serving up answers without sending people to our websites at all. A Google search actually reported and told us that 60% of the time, ever since they put in like the AI summary, 60% of the time people do not click after they search. So that's 60% of your leads, if you were getting them from search before, not, you don't have them anymore. 0.1% of people who actually see a post on Instagram click the link in your bio. So that's 10 clicks for 10,000 views. And I don't know about you, but I'm not getting 10,000 views on my reels and on my posts on a regular basis. So let's say I get 1,000 views, that means I'm getting one click to the link in my bio. And if you know anything about conversions, you need more than one person to land on your pages for them to actually convert to even a lead in, on your freebie or on your opt-in page. 0.1%, guys. An average reach overall on Instagram has dropped from 10 to 15% in 2020 to 2 to 3% now. That's literally 80% decline in the last 5 years. That's truly terrifying. This stat here, like true, it honestly terrifies me because, just imagine like what that's going to look like in a few years from now. I honestly, I don't know what it's going to be like because creators are being forced to make more content just for fewer impressions and less reach than ever before. And it feels to me like we're kind of being tricked into making their platforms better because we're creating these free assets day after day after day for these billionaire platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Google. And the more that we make, the more people want to be on their websites and the more money that they make. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, but it feels like a ruse, guys. And even if, here's the thing, even if we do happen to get a post with good reach, or, there have been times where we've semi gone viral and we have gotten a lot of outbound clicks to our website. The fact is, we still have to turn around within 48 hours and try to replicate that because the content dies that quickly. And it's not even 48 hours. Apparently now it's literally 19.4 hours on social. So like within a day, the content is just really, they're just not pushing the reach to that anymore, which is the real core problem. Because somewhere along the way, post once a day turned into twice a day, and then one reel and 5 stories per day. And, I was starting to think like, okay, I just got to put something out. Like, let me just do something. Like, even if I, came up with a system and I figured it out. We figured out how to repurpose it and all of this. We had all of these systems set up for how to take a reel and turn it into a carousel, and then that becomes a story, and then you repurpose that on, shorts, whatever. Even when we could keep up, it was sucking the life out of every good idea that I had, and even taking my bad ones. I was just there being like, okay, I just got to put something out. Done is better than perfect. Just like literally consistency, put something out. And maybe you've had the same realization that I've had, which is it's just not sustainable. I just couldn't keep up. And I just couldn't do it. Not only because of how much time it was taking me, but I was just exhausted and I felt like it was monopolizing every good idea that I had, which, you know, those creative sparks and those creative ideas are the whole reason I became an entrepreneur, and I'm not selling them to the manosphere. Let me know if you can relate to this, okay? If you're starting to feel like it's just not sustainable, but also it's literally what you're reliant on and it's your marketing strategy and where you get your leads from, let me know. Yes, you will be able to duplicate the Notion workbook as soon as the video goes in there. It's a whole different mindset, another part of the business. I feel like I market in bursts because I can find a flow. Yes, I get that. So, how exactly did we get here? Is, kind of the question I had to ask myself. And if you're like me, your business is probably running entirely on front of house energy. This is how Back of House was born because I realized that I was constantly under this pressure to put out more. And maybe like me, have you ever noticed that your best ideas do not come when you're planning your next carousel? You actually get them when you're like offline, right? When you're out of office, when you are walking or reading or showering or doing the dishes or, writing or after a client call, kind of just summarizing the notes, whatever. But because your marketing depends on you manually showing up, you're always in that reactive mode instead of actually building something that lasts. And so you might be sitting there being like, yes, 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 yes. We know. That's why we have funnels. What about funnels? Yes, funnels. You should have one. They work great, but they worked better in like 2015, back when people weren't getting hit with a million offers a day. And truly the theory of the funnel is that you're getting high volume up here, right? This is the entire theory. Leads, volume, tons. Now, your funnel is only effective as the volume of leads that you pour into it, but also the quality. And where do most people get those leads? Right back to social media. And even ads, maybe you're thinking, okay, well, you just spend on ads. These used to be like my go-to. They're the most low maintenance option, but they're getting harder and harder to justify. Prices are going up day after day. People are ignoring ads like way more. We're just used to them, or we have ad blockers or we just sort of tune them out. And these platforms are very happy to take your money and burn your budget while people are just sort of scrolling past those ads. So it is becoming, even with advertising, a little bit sketchier. So something has to change, right? And that's where Pinterest and email come in. You knew I was going to say that. The numbers speak for themselves. And I bet, like, if you're here, you probably already know this. I know that, like, those of you who are here, this is not your first rodeo. This, like, you know that you should be spending more time on email. You know that email has a higher ROI. You know that it's, you own your audience and get them off social and blah, 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 blah. We know this, but most of us are not doing it. Even me, who spent, years perfecting email marketing, sharing courses on email marketing, like this is our thing. We weren't as all in as we are now because we asked ourselves, how can we create and automate content that resonates so deeply with our audience that it stands out to that person, the most qualified lead that we can imagine, in a time where they're like just ready to get back to their TikTok scroll? Because an email and a TikTok don't exactly hit the same, And how do we stand out in this like era? Again, stop me from getting on my soapbox, but where everything kind of just feels like, I don't know about you, but you're on social and everything feels like this echo chamber regurgitated idea from somebody else. And I don't know if it's just AI or the fact that because we have this pressure to put out content all the time, like I was even starting to feel like I have nothing new to say. I'm saying the same thing all the time and I'm just trying to say it a different way. Like I'm all out of like my point of view. I don't have a new one. And maybe that makes me boring, but that's what it is. We figured out that the only way that we could do that, the only way that we could stand out that way, is to reduce the volume. We had to put out less stuff and really focus on putting out stuff that I was really proud of. Like I wanted to create something and send things that felt good and didn't feel like embarrassing and cringe, honestly. I was putting out stuff just because it had to go out and I should post once a day or I should email more or what, or we needed to have an ad up that like I wasn't in integrity with, and we knew that we needed to find a way to reduce that volume. And we can. And that's why the sigh of relief is here because I want to ask you, like, just even considering, like, just even coming to a class where sell this promise to you of like being able to spend less time on social, like, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to you? If you're like me, that just the even like the seed of this thought of like being able to do less marketing was just this major exhale. And the spoiler is it started to work. The more time I spent creating things that I was truly proud of and really trying to create a deep, meaningful connection with the people in my audience, um, both both in like the way that I was communicating with them, but also like strategically how we were segmenting and things like that, the way we were getting in front of those people, it started to work. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like social media should be an optional part of our business. I didn't, you know, I started my business 8 years ago, kind of more if you consider the business I had before that. But at that point, social wasn't how I got all my clients. It wasn't how I got most of my clients because it just wasn't the beast that it was today. And the people that I was learning from at the time, some of them didn't even have social at all. And I kind of, have to remind myself of that. Like, okay, yes, the landscape has changed. Yes, organic marketing has changed, but like there is another way. And I always think of this like guy, this pumpkin guy who sells pumpkins like kind of near where I live now. He literally doesn't have a sign. He doesn't have, I tried to look him up to share with a friend on Google Maps. He's not even on Google. He doesn't have a website. And guess what? This dude's pumpkins sell out every freaking year. I'm out there picking my own pumpkins. So he's got something figured out. There is another way, and back of house is the marketing system for creative entrepreneurs who don't want to be a content machine and want to say, like, let's do something else. And if that's where you're at right now, I hear you, I feel you. And if we haven't met yet, I should probably quickly say hi. I'm Alyssa. I'm the creator of the back of house system that we're talking about here. And over the past 8 years, as I said, I've helped entrepreneurs automate and systematize and simplify their marketing so that they can focus on the parts of the business that they actually like, the things that they're like excited about and excited for. And when I first started consulting and working with CEOs, I saw CEOs spending like 20% of their week on marketing. I always break up, people's weeks into groups. Well, how much are you spending on marketing, on sales, on ops, on um, admin? Like, what are you doing? And I would get to work. I'd be like 20%, that I would try to get that number down. That's too much time. How can we, how can we automate that? How can we lower that number? But today, when I talk to people, that number has ballooned to like on average 70%. Not everyone, but like most of people's weeks are being spent in marketing. And and they're not wasting time. Like this is just how long these things take. And even still, even the people who are spending 70% of the time, when I talk to them, they're never like, oh yeah, I'm crushing. They still, most of the time, don't feel like they're doing enough. And if give me a little gold star emoji if you're here. If you've ever said, or if you've never said, because I don't think anyone's going to put an emoji, oh yeah, this was the perfect week. I did the perfect amount of marketing this week. I, posted once per day. I did the perfect amount of like 3 reels and 2 carousels and 2 stories a day. And I turned those stories into shorts and blah, 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 blah. Like that's just never the case. There's always more that we could do, right? The platforms just keep multiplying how much they want from us. The algorithm changes, so the thing that used to work for you before just like stops working. And to me, it was just extremely overwhelming. And once I had my daughter, I just I had to also change how I was showing up online, and I didn't want to just sort of share parts of my life in the same way that I used to. And we started systematizing. How can we still keep up, with out just sharing the regular day to day of single Alyssa living in Toronto, going to, the chiropractor. Like, I was just had a different reality. I knew that there had to be some kind of better way, and I'm happy to tell you that we have got one at this point. But the way that I got there wasn't glamorous. About a year ago, I just sort of hit a wall. I was in Portugal, there I am, with my daughter, and I just had this like sinking feeling. And I just was reflecting, and I've never felt like this before. In 8 years of running my business, like I almost felt sick thinking about work. I love work. I love working. If you're here, maybe you feel the same way. Like I'm a CEO, I'm an entrepreneur through and through. Like this is, like I'm thinking of Jenna Marbles. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked, but I am married to entrepreneurship, and I had never felt like this dread before. And it was because my business was so high maintenance. I had automated so many things when I first had my daughter. I hired a teammate. I had like, or a few team members, and I just had this new software, all of these things. And I still felt stuck doing work that I didn't like. I wasn't designing or creating or deeply connecting with my clients. I was actually managing people and testing funnels and tweaking things. And I was actually, I had hired people to do the parts of the business that I liked. I had built my own nightmare of a job, honestly. And so I turned everything off. Socials, ads, funnels, like I went fully rogue. I've never done anything like this. Like passive products that were working perfectly fine. I was like, no, absolutely not. We're not band-aiding this. We're starting from scratch. It's too chaotic. We're doing something simpler. And something kind of crazy happened. And my goal was honestly just so simple. I just wanted something that felt cozier, something that felt more low maintenance, less high maintenance, something that felt good. And after months of optimizing, I'm sharing literally exactly that with you. And it doesn't just, it isn't just working for me, right? And it isn't just working when I'm selling the course on back of house. Like we implemented this with the current business model, and it's working for our clients. And it's now working for students in back of house since we released this at the beginning of the year. But I do have a small disclaimer. Back of house is not new. I am not a marketing genius. I didn't invent something groundbreaking. I can't, trend forecast the future of marketing. And if I could, I wouldn't have gotten to the place that I was in. That's not my bag. I don't claim to know that. In fact, that's the whole point. What I did is something that I actually think is a lot more useful. I looked back at my business, but also at the research, I was literally in Google Scholar. Like, did you know that there are research studies on email marketing and on digital marketing and on influencers in the creator economy. I didn't, but now I do. And I wanted to know what has always worked. What has like there not been this massive change like when I'm doing so many hand signals. When we look at the line, when we look at the graph, like what has been working no matter what and what still works today, even as algorithms change and blah 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 blah. And how can we build a system around that? Because when we know that, we don't need to predict the future of marketing. We don't have to. And if you've been in the game for a while, you probably know this too. If you zoom out, you've probably seen every 3 to 5 years a new marketing trend comes and it explodes. And, we're all trying to like jump on it. Facebook pages, live videos, Instagram Reels, Twitter, Shorts, Threads, X, LinkedIn, and now LinkedIn Thought Leadership, TikTok, whatever. Now it's AI generated content. How do you get AI to sound like you so that you can produce a million pieces of content every single day? Every single time people are scrambling, they're trying to master it. But when we take an exhale and we zoom out, some things have never changed. The highest converting platforms have always been email and search. Time and time again. Email's been the number one highest ROI channel for 20 years. This is like well known, well documented. It doesn't matter what's trending, email has always converted the highest. It used to convert like way higher than everything else. But now it still converts like 80% higher than other platforms. And search-based content like Pinterest, Google SEO, this has always outlasted social. So like how long each piece of content like can work for you. Social moves fast. That's just kind of its thing, and we're not going to try to change it. That's just the way it is. Search engines like Google, Pinterest, even YouTube send you leads for years from the same content. And this is what kind of had me like realize like what are we doing? Like, I think we're going to all look back at this and be like, did we like fully black out for a little bit there? Like, what were we doing? Because old pins of mine were still getting more traffic than like an Instagram story I posted that morning. So if you're building a business that you want to last, especially in this landscape that's completely changing, as I'm saying, that organic marketing is dying and the big dogs are really squeezing most of us like small players out. And what made organic marketing like a game changer for small fries and small businesses of just being able to like, just have a laptop, just have your phone and be able to get in front of your ideal audience is just not the case anymore. So you want to ask yourself not what is working right now, but what has always worked. And what if you had an entire back of house that was trained on only those things that have always worked? And so let me show you how we set that up. This is the short and sweet version of our system. It looks like this. It's all centered around your thing, your signature dish, and you have to set up your business model to be able to be sold on email. Most of us in the last 5 years have switched our business model to be sold on social. And so you have to center everything around your offer. Then we have email marketing that feels human. We kind of create these little like what I call bouncers that actually, bring back gatekeeping and stop people from getting on in your community and on your email list if they're not the right people for you. And this allows you to lower the volume of leads that you have or you need and convert more. And the way that we are driving traffic is Pinterest to our bread and butter content. So step one, you want to set up that email first offer suite. Then you're going to automate that email ecosystem. Then bring leads through Pinterest and sell your services through email. Depending on, I like literally put it in every possible way, depending on if you're a visual thinker or a list-based thinker or whatever you call this type thinker. This is how it looks. Okay, here's another view for you. This is the back of house model, and what is key to it is once you put these things in place, you don't have to create them again. I think if Pinterest and email had a baby, this is what it would look like. So let's address the elephant in the room. I'm going to kind of jump ahead into Pinterest because I know that that's why you're here. You're like probably thinking at this point, email marketing sounds good, but how do we get emails? We all know you need leads, you need website traffic, and organic reach is down. So how are we going to get emails on our list? So here's what we do. First, we have to set up our rules. Like I said, we need to have some sort of marketing system that doesn't require daily content. It has to be something that we can set up once and works for us for a long time. And number three, has to be something that has a higher conversion rate or is consistently converting for us. And so Pinterest drives the traffic and email does the converting. The duo, the two of them working together is key here. And the thing that I want to say quickly about Pinterest is that it's not just a cute place to kind of hang out and search, but pinners, the people who are like on Pinterest are literally dream clients. They're dream leads to get in front of. 55% of people on Pinterest are shopping. And I always think of this like thrifting, like, when you go thrifting with like nothing in mind and you oftentimes leave with nothing or you leave with random things. But if the good thrifters know you have to go with a list. You have to go in and be like, I'm looking for this type of like foldable clock or whatever. I know you know what I'm talking about. And when you do, you're going to get there and you're going to be like, oh my God, I never would have noticed, but I've seen like 50 of these foldable clocks. They're all here. That's because that's the same thing with Pinterest. These people have high intent, meaning that they're like going to Pinterest to solve problems. They're actually wanting to, they intend to like try to solve their problem and less just straight up scrolling. Like, of course, people are still scrolling. I've wasted my fair share of time just scrolling on Pinterest, but the intent-based users on Pinterest compared to other platforms makes your content convert so much higher and is honestly kind of a game changer. It's really the best parts of search and social. It's a fun place to hang out, but also people are there and you're able to optimize for keywords because you've likely done a lot of work to create your offer and your services and maybe a freebie. And it is becoming increasingly challenging to actually get those in front of people. So it's that little dream combo. Um, am I missing comments? I'm over social. It's so much work for so little, and I get some of us are better than others, but it feels like a fruitless task. I feel you. Never say that. Burned it all down last September. I feel you. Yes, like I think that's also an entrepreneur thing. Like a lot of us are like, I'm about to light a match. The dread, I'm a little bit lost. What do you mean by double yes? I'm going to share my double yes in 1 second. Yes, that doesn't make sense, but I will share exactly what I mean by that right now, actually. 1.5 billion users. Oh, and the other really incredible thing about Pinterest is that the content lasts. I shared with you before, 48 hours, or well, not even 19.4 hours is the average lifespan of an Instagram post, and some of these other ones are even less than that. Pinterest was number two after what I actually don't even know what that one was. Okay, I'm not going to go all the way back, but Pinterest was number two. Um, Pins are still driven traffic for more than 2 years. And what's really cool, what we kind of have learned is that even pins that are over 2 years old, like this, 41% of the pins with new saves were over 2 years old. So Pinterest even like actually starts driving your content more the older it gets. And like if people really like it, it starts to understand that and serve it up to more people because they're like, oh, people are really enjoying this and people are clicking on it. So how do you set up your Pinterest? Here's how we put it together. Number one, you want to optimize your Pinterest account for your keywords. What's great about Pinterest and the way that the Pinterest algorithm works, which I am such a nerd for at this point, is that it uses literally every single part of your profile, your pin, your boards, and to understand more about the user and about what you're pinning. And you probably know this, like, you start pinning one thing, like let's say it's like garden stuff. And you don't just start seeing gardening things, but you see like very specific gardening things to like farm to table, if that's something else that you've been pinning before, or recipes with this type of vegetable that you were just pinning in your garden. So it really does understand what's in the pin, where that pin leads to, what board you've pinned that to, and it really understands a broader picture. And so when you put your keywords in your profile, in your bio, and in your boards, and on your pins, and on your overlay text, and even in the content that you're creating, it tells Pinterest how to categorize you and it gets your stuff in front of the right people and better quality leads. Like half the time, Pinterest knows me better than I know myself. And that's because it's really taking all of this into account and it's so much more nuanced than I think a lot of people really realize. And if you don't know what your keywords are, that's fine. Pinterest is, I don't know why, but Pinterest is like literally um, the best. They're a girl's girl and they just like tell you what keywords to use. You truly just have to put what you do into the search bar. You don't have to get creative. You don't have to like, you know, do SEO research. You can if you want to, but truly the best results come from just literally putting what you do in the search bar, seeing what comes up in the related searches, in in the drop down menu when you put that in, all of these bubbles, and if you scroll down, it will also be in the related searches. These are your keywords. It's that simple. You want to choose a few keywords and then put them everywhere. That's that. That's how simple it is to set up your account for Pinterest and to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people. The only other thing that you'll want to add, and even sometimes it will start showing up, it's not in this example, but let's say I put in like Notion templates, it might also pop up like Notion templates for students, Notion templates for business owners, that type of thing. So you also want to add one keyword about who your audience is, at least one. So once you have your account set up, maybe you're like, what should I pin? That sounds like content. That's sounding like a lot like you're saying content creation. How do I get, what am I putting in these pins? And this is where our bread and butter content comes in. And I am such a nerd for this. This is one of my like favorite parts because what we've figured out is that when you create a few, our suggestion in back of house is to literally start with just four really strategic forever pieces of content. This is your bread and butter. These are the things that like answer, your audience's biggest questions. These are the things that people are asking you. These are the things that people are searching for before they work with you. And you take your time with them. You make them really incredible. And these can be blog posts, these can be podcasts, these can be videos. It doesn't just have to be, written like I'm showing here. When you take your time and create really incredible pieces of content that people want to save, people want to click through, and people are like, okay, this person knows their shit. These pieces of content can perform for you for literally years, like years and years and years, at least 2 years. But like this piece of content here, I think is over 5 years old, and we still get traffic to it all the time. We optimize these pieces of content, your bread and butter content, with those same keywords, and we optimize them for Pinterest search so that they get traffic literally forever. Then what you do is you add in a way for someone to get on your email list from that piece of content. So the traffic's coming from Pinterest, they're getting to your forever piece of content here, bread and butter content, and then we're saying, hey, here's the next step. And you want to like make the next step something that's really great. And this is where the first yes comes in, right? And I'll clarify that now. But once they've opted in and that piece of content leads them directly to your email list, then they're able to get that freebie, get your regular nourishment emails, and actually go to your offer, whatever that is. But then how do you continue to get people to those posts? Because yes, you could just like post that and then get traffic forever. But of course, we have to like continuously put things out on Pinterest. But what's so cool about Pinterest is that they say nothing. And trust me, I've literally read the engineers' papers on how the algorithm is set up, and I understood like 2% of it. But they say nothing about creating new content. They just want fresh content. So they don't care if this recipe or this, blog post is 10 years old, 15 years old. If it's like your grandma's best recipe, they don't care. But what they need is fresh pins. So all we do is we make some new images that lead back to those same four core pieces of content along with your blog and your freebie, or sorry, your freebie and your offers. And we batch a whole buttload of content for those and automate that process so that you can be pinning multiple times a day. We show you how to batch your pins in like literally 2 seconds, which is amazing. But you're pinning 7 times a day, every single day, and leading people to your content at all times with only needing 4 pieces of content that you create once, you probably already have, optimize it for Pinterest, and lead people to your email list. We show you how to do that. I created this, probably the thing I'm most proud of inside back of house, this custom script that creates 6 months of pins for you in 6 seconds just from your 4 posts. And you're able to literally schedule them for 6 months at a time, 1,400 pins in 6 seconds. You can batch this in an afternoon. You could write, you could do this in one afternoon and then literally not touch your content for 6 months. And it will bring you leads, 7 pins per day, every single day for 6 months, every day. And it's got me feeling like we need to stop normalizing content calendars. We need to stop normalizing constantly needing to have a new POV to, follow that trend or like have our take on the like, the audio that's going around right now, which is fun. And I would like to do if it didn't, if doing it right didn't mean the difference between having my next client or not. And start normalizing whatever this is because this is the vibe. Okay. And once all of your pins are scheduled, this can be you because this is me now. And I want to, before I move on too quickly, answer some questions that I'm imagining you're asking, but also some of these questions here. Yes, actually, I don't think you guys have any questions. You're just hyping me up. Thank you. I appreciate that. You agree. We're getting gold stars. Okay. But here's what I'm imagining you asking. I read this in my notes because I know that I know that I've gotten this question before, but maybe you've tried blogging or email before and it didn't actually convert or you didn't get any views or any traffic. And what I see is that most people don't actually have a system for this, like I showed in that bird's eye view kind of flow chart. They just have a bunch of scattered pieces. They have a freebie, they have blog posts, or they have socials, and they have, an opt-in, and they have these things, but they aren't all integrated and they don't all stack on top of each other. And that's what Back of House aims to fix by giving you the whole ecosystem. See how we zoomed way, way out and centered everything around your offer? That brings you the right leads that are nurtured in the right way and are getting the right message from you at the right time without you manually having to do it at all. And like I said, the best part is once it's up, then you don't have to like tweak it. It just starts compounding over time. The other question that I'm predicting is you being like, okay, but like, do I just never post on social because that's embarrassing? Like, people, I look at social, I look at people's Instagram before I ever work with them. Like, won't that look bad? I hinted at this before. You can and you should still post on social if you want to. The difference is that you don't have to do it to beat the algorithm. You don't have to do it to get your next client. You're not like outsmart the algorithm, all of that. Instead, you're making social media optional and it just gets to be this creative outlet again, which is really fun. And in my experience, what we, found is that like this is from my like social media report is that we've adjusted our strategy to be more for the girlies and added more storytime focused reels, blah, 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 blah. It started being fun again. And I show up when I have something to say, not because I feel like I have to, and my sales don't suffer for it, and because my back of house is kind of handling all the rest of that. All right. Love the idea of batching 6 pins, 6 months worth of pins. Yeah, like for real, for real, for real. It like takes 2 minutes. Some of you, like if Melly's still here, she's done it, and I think it took her like literally no time at all. Do you have any ideas on how this all applies to high ticket items? Absolutely. My branding package is 5K. Is there any way to change this flow to help with that? You literally don't have to change it. This works perfectly for all service-based businesses. So what you do is like you have a signature, right? Like your branding package is your signature. And what you're doing is leading people to probably book a consultation or a call with you in some way and then closing them on that sale. That's what this is designed for. It's not just low ticket, if that's what you were thinking. And let me know if that answers your question. You don't have to change it. It was made for that. Is that a bot you created? It's not actually a bot, although Back of House has lots of custom bots to help you execute on these things and not clone you, blah, blah, blah. But what if you do if you don't have a blog? You don't have to start a blog, but you could. If you have a website in any way, shape, or form, you can use that. You just need somewhere to send people so that they can opt in. You can do this with Substack, like whatever you want. So great that it's built on 4 pieces of content. Is the reason for this that we're prioritizing new leads? I imagine people following us on Pinterest would get bored of the same 4 pieces, but I guess Pinterest isn't really being used as social, more for traffic. Yes, and what's so cool is that Pinterest followers like pretty much don't matter. And it barely even shows your content to your followers and you content from who you follow. Like almost at all. So it doesn't really matter. And so you don't have to worry about what your Pinterest followers are seeing. And you don't have to worry about, yeah, growing your Pinterest following. And it also, Pinterest doesn't prioritize accounts that have more followers than others. It will prioritize if like your pin gets a lot of clicks within the first like 24 hours because you have a lot of followers. So in some ways there's that. But yeah, it's not necessarily for that. And the thing is like, if people see your content and get on your email list, even though they've seen that same four pieces of content, what am I saying? Even though they've seen that blog before, you're still going to be sending them new stuff like through your email and stuff like that, which I'm actually going to get to now. So they're still going to get new content from you. They won't be bored. The Pinterest batch is my favorite from 1K views to 5.6 and going up daily. And you just set it up. Yeah. I just have funnels. I just have funnels. Let me know what you mean by that. Um, I find it a little harder to convert on a high ticket thing sometimes. I've thought about making a 1 hour brand call paid to be a stepping stone. Yeah, you can totally do that. You can offer sort of like a mid-ticket type thing. But what it's meant to be is we don't send people directly to like your sales page. Actually, we do, but the system isn't set up to send people directly to your sales page. It's designed for you to convert people through email. So let me actually get to that. Let me get my point. And that's where you convert them through these like more intimate emails. You convert them to like raise their hand and say, yeah, this is something that I really want right now. And then you start the conversation of either getting on the phone or however you have your sales process. Okay, how's everyone doing? I know I am like inching towards 1 p.m., but I promise I am getting to the good stuff here. But I always spend too long on Pinterest because everyone is most interested in that. Okay, then we focus on what happens once they're in. Now we have to really focus on the experience. And this is where the magic happens. This is where I could again nerd out forever. And you might be wondering, has an email changed too? Isn't email marketing conversion rates going down? Yes, email has changed, but not in the way that everyone thinks. Because yes, open rates are down and people are clicking less and people are having, more conversations in the DMs than they were replying to emails. That is true. But and you've probably seen these little like unsubscribe things in Gmail, like the all USPs, not just Gmail, but like everyone, Yahoo, whatever. They are making it really easy for people to unsubscribe from your emails. So unsubscribes are up, but people are not spending less time in their inbox. That is the good news. Um, in fact, actually, we know that people are spending on average more time in the last 5 years in their inbox than the 5 years before that. But they are getting a lot better at ignoring emails that aren't worth their time. All of us are, right? Like, there's such a massive amount of marketing that we just kind of know what to ignore. And so ESPs, email service providers, are making changes to reflect that. And you've probably seen this little thing. Do you want to unsubscribe? That's the new standards. Because email providers, they don't care about you. They and at this point, they don't just want like not they don't just care about if your email is spam or not, right? Like before it's like don't be spammy and then you won't end up in the spam folder. But actually, email providers now want proof that your subscribers are actually into whatever your email is about and into getting emails from you because their job is to keep people in their inbox, right? And honestly, that's ours too. But here's the good news. Email is very much alive. 88% of people. Are you seeing all of these? Okay, good. I thought I was supposed to click them up. 88% of people check it every single day. About half of people are actively looking to buy from their inboxes. And most marketers, 78%, say that email is their highest ROI. So there's lots of opportunity, okay? And you're gonna see, like, because of all of these changes, a lot of broy marketers are just kind of doubling down. They're emailing every single day because of those numbers that I just showed. They're trying to like add code to their emails so that it stays out of the promotions tab. But the people reading your emails and email service providers as well are actually interested in something else entirely, right? All they care about is this actually interesting and does it belong in my inbox? to be real with you, the trends have changed wildly since I started email marketing back in like 2016. But my approach to email actually hasn't changed much because what works truly hasn't. Okay, I'm not going to get on my soapbox again, but a lot of what works in email hasn't changed since true Mad Men era. You need people curious, you need them interested, you need them engaged in what you do. And so in back of house, we don't share the things that are like what's working now. We walk you through how to get people more curious, how to hold their attention, and how to increase engagement. Because these are the frameworks behind what's always been working. Um, because the trends are going to keep changing, but if you know these things, like literally Don Draper was doing this, so like you don't have to worry about the trends. We have to focus on the experience, and it all starts by trying to figure out how do we make emails that are, inherently automated, the sequences that we have, still feel human and still feel like high touch. And how do you clone your best marketer, which is you, and automate it with email so that you can sell to people without it feeling so automated. And I think that's even more important now than ever before because people are sending emails written by AI and blah, 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 blah. And we're all kind of starting to tune it out. So, how do we do it? Number one, we start with your welcome sequence, which I call Want to Hear the Specials. This sequence needs to be something that is so good that it makes people stick around. And I think this is something that like a lot of e-com brands are kind of nailing this and are really making a lot of changes to this. And service providers are just not keeping up. This can't be a sequence that sounds like the sequence that you get from your dentist, because just like everything else, we're all becoming such savvy marketers and savvy buyers. And especially if for most of you who are here and are in a service industry, if you're B2B, but even if you're, not, we're all just like so much smarter. Like, what email's coming next, the point of this email, and we can't be sending sequences like that. We have to upgrade them to strategically take your leads from feeling, like they don't know you to being very, very hungry with just a few emails. And then step two is to create your community. And this is my favorite part, guys. This is where you get to write little love letters to the people in your community and keep them warm. And this is where you do kind of have to like consistently show up, either once a week or every other week or once a month, but in some way consistently showing up with a email nourishment strategy that keeps people warm and keeps you top of mind and also allows you to have this deep connection with your audience. Like, here's the thing, guys, we're competing. You're competing with people with this like parasocial relationship that so many people have. Like, people feel so connected to the people that they watch on social media, and you're literally seeing like intimate parts of people's lives. They're like in their bathroom or they're sharing about like their divorce or, like we have these really intimate relationships of people. And so you have to compete in a sense with those uber private and personal feeling socials in some way. And we do that through email. And you'll notice that, like I said, the rise of Substack and all of these things, because it's becoming increasingly challenging to get in front of your audience and to create that relationship like we used to. And we know that has really been, it's just been massively influential in getting people to buy a lot sooner. And step three is really using your emails wisely. And I call that not your granddad's email marketing. This is where, like I said, like, a lot of service providers I notice are not keeping up with like how to figure out how to do the things in your email marketing that I always want to do two things. I always want to kind of surprise people and I want to delight them. I want them to feel like really like joyous to be getting your email because that, like I said, that's how people continue to open those emails. So we focus on things like really, thoughtfully segmenting people and sending them the right things at the right time, sending them without creating this whole automation and like, spider web on the back end. I've done that. I've been there. I've created chaos for myself, but with little PSs that sell for you, with sign off specials that have your offers in them with right time offers that I'll share right now. But finding ways to make your audience like just feel like you're personally talking to them, even when you are segmenting and reoffering and sending this to a big group of people, because obviously you're not going to like personally email everyone on your list. But what we do is we offer and we reoffer to that same audience so you don't have to look for your next lead. And instead, we're able to sell to who we have. And while we do that, every single time you send one of those emails, you get to actually, oh, that looks so ugly. Where's my font? What happened here? You get to also send right time offers because some weeks your story or the value that you're sharing in your emails naturally tee up your offer. And when that happens, you'll learn in back of house how to like slide in an offer at the right time, a low key, very chill call to action that turns those readers into buyers without you having to have like a full promo. And they let you sell those existing offers in a way that's like a little bit more human. Guys, why does it look like this? All right, I won't spend all my time here, but this is a slide from back of house, so that's why there's so much information there. But we share it all with you. That we give you like a full planners, and this is our Notion email marketing dashboard, so you can figure out like what your newsletter is going to be, what your sequences are like, how you're sending your weekly simmer emails or regular simmer emails, and how to segment people and get more clicks, and what to put in your PSs, and how to create better email hooks, and all of those things and do it in a way that it feels really like easy to keep up with. And I want to get this out of the way. Most of us don't actually have a lead problem, although most platforms are selling us on that fact. And, even I used to say, you just need more leads. It's just a numbers game. You just got to get more people in and continue that conversion and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think most of us have a conversion problem, and we've been lied to that 1% of your audience will convert. We see audiences converting at 5, 10, 30%, depending on if it's a super small list, but you can convert a massive amount of your audience if you actually have a conversion system. um, most people that I like talk to just have some sort of weird mix of content and offers and emails and are kind of, just hoping that they are going to convert because they've seen it or gotten it from other people, and we're not doing that. And that's where your house specials come in. This is actually where we start in back of house, but I put Pinterest in step first because I know that that's what you guys want to hear about. But we start your whole process with the thing that makes you money. So if that's your services, or if that's your course, or if that's your offer, or if that's something that's 1K, or if that's something that's 10K, we design your offer suite that specifically works inside an email first business model. Because when you build something, that's designed to sell by email and not Instagram stories or DMs, it can be very repeatable. So here are the rules that I share for an email first offer suite. Number one, it has to be able to sell without over explaining. Most of us have to like talk about our offer a ton before people actually know what's going on. Rule number two is that it should always be available. An email first offer is ready when your audience is, so that you don't have to like have this promo timeline, blah, blah, blah. And rule number three, it should be easy to reoffer so that in those emails, like I mentioned, or depending on when someone comes in through Pinterest, they can purchase when they are. And then we set up your whole ecosystem around that offer. And this is where I say, we have to bring back gatekeeping. And this is the double yes method. So those of you who are, or that one person who is asking about what that is, this is what it is. So step one, you have your signature dish that's proprietary to you. This is like your thing. And you create a sales page that is what I call a better than DM sales page that does the selling for you. So you don't have to, yeah, like send voice notes to people or like explain it in stories or create this like massive urgency around it. It should work for you. Then you want to have, oh, sorry. Then you will need to have the perfect appetizers. These are the things, this is your freebie and your low ticket offer that we use to pre-qualify people long before they ever hit your inbox. And this is where we create those really strategic appetizers that not only guarantee that when you do get on the phone with people or when you're sending those right time offer pitches to people, that you're pitching them to the right audience, because so many people, what I will say is that I've heard people say that like, oh, nobody's downloading freebies anymore, but that's actually not true. People are downloading a lot of freebies, but they are actually just ignoring them. Like we all have that folder in our inbox that's like shit we've downloaded and we don't even know who it's from and all of that. And so we have to almost be like very selective with who we let in and like, don't make this mean what it's not, but like you really want to make sure that anything that you put out, the freebie that you create, the only people who should want it are the people who are perfect for your offer. And then we create a second bouncer. This is like the next level where we put in a low ticket offer to pre-qualify buyers and that should segment people and be even more niche so that by the time you get on the phone with someone to pitch them, or by the time someone lands on your sales page, literally they're the perfect person. But also, you're making a little bit of small passive income, but also people who purchase from you once are 70% more likely to purchase from you again, and they don't forget you. Okay. So, this is the double yes that I mentioned before. Yeah, that makes, I already read that. Have to say that branding is fly. Oh, thank you. How often should we be emailing? At least once a month, but I personally suggest every other week or weekly. Definitely struggling with more and more emails landing in my promos folder, even with people that actually want to receive them. Yeah, absolutely. That happens to us too. And we address that in back of house. The best thing to do is to, number one, segment and start sending the right people your stuff so that it basically sends signals to your service provider that you're not a promotion, that you're like a friend. And number two is to use what I call clickbaits, but like basically little tricks to get people to click more in your emails and then you'll stay out of promos. Yay. So, yes, number one is the freebie, and yes, number two is the low ticket. That's exactly right. And not everyone will take you up on yes, number two. Like, that's fine. But if they do, that is like a super hot segment of your audience. I don't know why this is here. So you can plan your signature method. I think that's a mistake. And so at this point, your system is built. If you've got your freebie, and you know what I want to say actually, when we look at this, is like, this is a funnel. Let me just say what you're maybe thinking. This is not new. People have been saying, hey, get a freebie, get, a tripwire, a low ticket offer, and send some emails, have a welcome sequence. These things are not new. And that's by design. Like just take that in. That's because those are the things that still work. What's always new and interesting in marketing are the other things. These things continue to work. Yes, how you deliver them or what you're offering, like that's changing. Like this freebie that I used to deliver here, like I would not share that anymore. People don't just want like a PDF. I mean, actually, some people do. I still download PDFs, let's be honest, but that's changing. But ultimately, like the structure and the funnel itself is the same. And that's because it works. Okay, guys, like that's why we're doubling down on the stuff that works. Okay, so now what about sales? I hinted a little bit at those right time offers. That's what you're sending like regularly. But when your offers are structured for email for selling and you're making sales regularly, your email system is nurturing those leads automatically. So they're hot, they're warm, they're even raising their hand sometimes and saying, yes, I want more information about that and booking a call with you, or you're sending them the information. And your traffic funnel is bringing in new people without socials. So you're always getting new people going through that welcome sequence and those weekly emails and all of that. You don't really, you're definitely like, you have a low maintenance business at this point. The only thing that you actively have to do is once every 6 months, batch all those pins and send a regular email, which takes what, like 1 hour a week? If you're me, like three, because I always write the longest freaking emails. But, you know, you might want to add in some little cash injections as well, which is what I recommend. And so we wanted to know, like, okay, if we don't want to do these massive launches like we used to, or we don't want to be reliant on them, what's a simple sales strategy that we're going to use? And I think a lot of people are waiting, they're waiting for the perfect time or like to get the temperature of their audience to sell, but we want sales to happen without you having to like kind of invite people in or without you having to initiate them with that massive promo. So what we do is we do number one, email first, active invites. So being able to like actively say, hey, I'm offering back of house this week only, you should come, or I'm having a webinar, you should come. These are the campaigns that create these quick revenue boosts, but you're less reliant on them because you have, oh, I said the Did I say the wrong thing backwards? Yes, automated invites. These are the, sorry. These these are the things that are going out regularly in your sequences, and then your active promos. Hey, back of house is opening. And when you like kind of do the two things together, then it kind of just creates this like little 1-2 punch, right? You're getting those active sales through the promos, and then you're getting your regular trickle in sales all the time. And especially like if your list is small in the beginning or your list is not used to you sending them right time offers, these don't always convert at the volume that you want them to. Like if you, let's say you have like a 1K offer, like you need more than just like one person every 2 weeks saying, hey, yeah, I'm interested. You need to have a little active promo once per quarter, let's say, or twice per year that bring in those cash injections. And then what we do is we take some of those best active promo emails and we add them to your evergreen sequence because like those are your best sales emails. We do not let them die after one send. We keep them in the loop. And here's the wild part, which is that when you know that your marketing is kind of like handled in the background, you get to become so much more creative. And, you know, you get to do weirder stuff and more fun things. Like what I did before this launch is offer that midnight menu and started giving away little pieces of back of house. And I just thought it was fun. And it's kind of a risk because, you know, I took less time promoting this webinar. But in the end, actually, more people between the midnight menu and the webinar, we had more people than I normally would have register for a webinar if I just promoted that webinar for 2 weeks. So it gets to be more fun. You get to be more creative and you get to find out new things, test new things that you can implement in your business. And that's what happens when, you know, you kind of like divorce yourself a little bit from that like inundating, relentless marketing style. And so here are low maintenance rules. If you want to audit your business, and maybe you don't want to follow the exact back of house model, or maybe you do, and you want to just like look at what you have right now. These are the rules that I kind of follow and that I kind of use to lead me when I wrote that document that you saw at the beginning called Project Simplify. These are the rules. Number one, it whatever we do, we need to have the majority of our content be something that we can create once and let it work forever so that you can take your time with it and like also that it's not like embarrassing. Then, uh, whatever we do, continuously check in and say, like, does this require us to keep up with it daily in order to stay relevant or in order for it to continue to work? Focus on things that actually make a big impact over just volume and go all in on evergreen content. Think about how you can create things that actually work for you for a long time. Maybe that's YouTube videos, maybe that's blog posts, maybe that's you know, like a private podcast or just podcast episodes in general that continue to work for you because you know that those are the things that like you get on the phone with people and they're like, "Oh my God, I heard you on this podcast and or I listened to this episode and then I knew I had to book a call," or whatever it is. These are your evergreen pieces and like really leverage those. And um automate as thoughtfully as possible, not just automate for the sake of it, but automate in a way that feels like you as much as possible in your business so that you can regain your time without feeling like you're sort of selling out a little bit. You don't need to do what I did. You don't need to burn everything down, disappear, shut off the stuff that, you know, you worked hard on unless you want to. But most of the time, like most of us just are feeling like we need support. And I would be willing to bet that these are some of the things that you're craving. So give me a little snail emoji if you are craving this. A slower and softer pace as an entrepreneur. Something you're craving something that is intentionally low maintenance, that is consistent and sustainable and has breathing room built in for you for creativity and rest and like also just like time to walk the dog or whatever. Time for good things, the stuff that you actually enjoy in your business, big picture planning, you know, getting out that big piece of paper and like writing your ideas on it and deep creative work and getting, you know, hyper fixating on this new random Pinterest script that you create for your clients, long lunches, you know, all of those things. And also like the time for the good things in your life, right? Reading that book, whatever. You deserve a business that actually allows you those things. And if you're like me, there have been times when I've been jealous of my friends who just have like a regular business or a regular job, sorry, and just like on Friday at 6 p.m. just like mentally check out. And I'm still over here like thinking about if I should post on my Instagram stories. And maybe you've even, fantasized about having a right-hand man, right-hand gal to handle it all. And somebody who just like kind of gets you and who knows your audience like you do and can sell your stuff like you can and cares about your business as much as you do and is not someone that you have to like micromanage on Slack or whatever. These are the things that I was craving. And the fact of the matter is, that costs a lot of money. And training them takes like forever. And most of the time, people aren't going to care about your business in the same way that you do. And so, what if instead of hiring one person to be your right hand person, you hired your back of house? You had an entire back of house working for you. So you can be the front of house girly, okay? That's where you belong. You're out there creating the vibes and the ambiance and the sparkle. And let's let your back of house just kind of handle the other stuff. And if you want me to personally help you set up this system that we talked about here today, that's what back of house is. And it is officially reopening on Monday. But I will say, for those of you who are here, I have like kind of a crazy offer for you. Back of House is opening on Monday, but if you want to, you can join now and you do get instant access to some of the first modules in the course. For example, someone just sent me that they started playing with the sign-off specials when they were in their first week and already got a sale from them, which is in the welcome. But you do get instant access and can start working on these things and come to our call on Wednesday. And inside back of house, I teach you this whole system in great detail, in great detail. But we also have a lot of things there to make your life so much easier because, like I mentioned, most people who I work with want to have this stuff in place and they want to like feel integrity behind it, but they don't have the time to spend forever doing it. So we have bots to help you set things up. And no, it's not going to just like write all of your copy for you and stuff like that. We have bots that will, like, for example, uh, audit your sales page for you between when you write it and when you come to the call before I can actually audit it and it uses my exact framework, or someone who helps you come up with subject lines and is trained on all of my top subject lines, including split tests, or everyone's favorite, which is the mixologist who helps you brainstorm freebies, or the pin key master who helps you write and shuffle your blog titles and descriptions because you're sharing the same four pieces of content all the time and you have to come up with new titles and descriptions using the same keywords. And it does start to get a little bit crazy, but we don't use bots to just like completely replace the copywriting, just as a small virtue signal on my part. But I just want to put that out there. We also give you Notion templates and planners and everything that you might need. And I will say that those of you who are here, if you're interested, there's a massive coupon on the page that's below here and a secret bonus of the email hostess, which has tons and tons of email prompts. This is my go-to where I go when I want to write an email, and it's based on my top emails as well as the emails that I've written for clients and with clients and blah, blah, blah. You're going to get the massive coupon, which I will not even say how much it is, and that secret bonus if you join before Sunday at midnight, and at which point this all expires. So if you want me to personally do that with you and help you set that up and you want our system and our templates, then that's where you can get your hands on it. And if you want the DIY route, the antisocial or the workbook there that shows our antisocial plan is just below. And once I put this video here, once I actually end this whole thing and put the video there, then you'll be able to duplicate it and fill it in and just like really start going through your process. But like I said, like I literally shared with you the whole thing. Like I'm not, holding anything back. This is what back of house is. You drive the traffic with just a few pieces of content that you find ways to continuously share on Pinterest without pissing Pinterest off. including your blogs, those four blogs, your freebies, your low tickets, your signature dish. You send them through your first yes to your second yes with your tripwire or low ticket offer. You write a sequence that gets people to go from just wanting something for free to actually understanding your philosophy and the deeper why of what you do, because people don't purchase because you say that it's available. They purchase when they feel like they need it. And that's the purpose of that sequence. That leads them to your signature dish. And even if they don't purchase it, then we send them, your weekly simmer emails, which send them back to your signature dish. And even still, then we send them back to your promos, which send them back to your signature dish again. And if not, they continue in this little loop here forever and ever. That's a system, guys. That's it. And that workbook will help you kind of audit some parts of your business to be able to implement this. But if you want literally everything, every training built on years of, my experience, but also how we've set this up in my business and in our clients' businesses, then you can get that by joining. And then I will get to meet you and see you on our calls. Okay. Love the combo focus on high qualified leads and buyer leads. Yeah, exactly. That really allows us to like not it allows us to pull back on how many leads we feel like we need to continue to get, and it shifts our focus. This is like what's so key about this whole model in general is that we shift our focus from a typical funnel, which says that you have to be up here. Oh God, guys, sorry. What about funnels? Where's the part where I say what about funnels? Here we go. Most people's focus is like all up here. Like this is leads. We're putting all of our attention. And down here, where our clients are, or where are people who are like, kind of hot, this is like mostly in your email sequences and like when people are in your community or on sales calls or your actual clients, we don't have any time for these things because we're focusing all of our attention up here. So when you shift your focus to really high quality leads, you don't need as many here. And you can instead just get a few here and spend all of your time like, the funnel goes upside down. You can spend all of your time in your regular emails and nourishing those people and getting to know them better and giving them what they need at the right times, and creating better stuff for your clients because those people end up, sharing social proof which is the best thing for converting people who are in this like kind of desire phase. So, yes, it's that shift in focus that is amazing. Okay, I like this clarification since I'm used to only during live launches, but wanting to add evergreen webinars. Yeah, you can absolutely add evergreen webinars. I love adding an evergreen webinar, especially or an evergreen webinar or a private podcast are both performing super well right now, especially within welcome sequences to get people just like super hot and feeling like they're in the room with you. Yeah, I love that for you. And you can always send people back to your webinars, which is so cool. Is that how you've been able to do the pins that quickly? I missed I missed it. Um, sorry, I missed when that comment came in, so I'm not sure what you mean. It is in USD, but there is a Canadian option if you're Canadian. What you've done with Back of House is so cool and such a vibe. Thank you. I'm honestly so, so proud of it. Can we still do a payment plan? Yes, absolutely. The discount applies to the payment plan, even the 12-month payment plan. It's like semi a no-brainer. I try to make it like truly as accessible as possible, especially right now with that coupon that I'm like not naming. Um, but I just want so many more people. This is like my battle cry, I swear to God, guys. Like, I want more people to allow themselves that like space in their business again and to start looking at their business like that picture that I showed in the beginning of like my vision board of like why we got into this. And I got into my business to like sit quietly by a candlelit window and like write in my notebook about ideas and bring them to life and like try new things and work with my clients. And those are the things that I actually love, and I just had kind of lost sight of that. So anyway, and I know that what's crazy, guys, like when I get on the phone with people, or when I start working with clients, so many times they'll be like, oh yeah, like they'll tell me about this idea that they had that they never actually followed through on, and it's like the best idea I've heard in months. Like I know you've got a million good ideas that you don't have the time to execute. And like, that's what I want more creatives. Like, the people that I've worked with, that I've had the privilege of working with, especially because I work with really cool service providers and creatives, like, I'm like selfishly very interested to see what you guys will make when you have the space to do it and when you have the creative freedom to do it. Like, I want to see the cool shit that you want to bring to life. And like, that's, yeah. Anyway, I don't remember what my point was and how I got on that. Okay, if you go to the checkout, you will see there's like a little red thing that says, I'm Canadian. And you can click that and you just have to like put your Canadian address on your checkout. And don't be shady, guys. We have kicked people out who've tried to like pretend they're Canadian and like Canadians are nice, but we will not be pushed around by fakers. So this is for Canadians, okay? Um, we are in a trade war. I'm just kidding. Okay, now I'm alienating the Americans. Love you. I know it's not your fault. But anyway, special price for Canadians. I love working with Canadians. Where are you from, by the way? Anonymous 782. Um, if anyone has any questions about Back of House, because I truly didn't like talk about it in too extensively in terms of like what's actually inside the course and yeah, what's included. But I guess I did. You get the idea. It's the modules are this. It's all this. Yes, and the secret bonus as well. From Kitchener, Brittany. Oh my God, hi. I'm literally in Guelph. Should we be friends? Are we best friends? Do we just become best friends? Um, that's so wild.